Today I'm going to give just a short introduction to what it is to build AI products that think with us, because we are shifting into a new trajectory of building products, while before we were the need 100% of our times while using a tool. For example, on a product, when you were using a product, you needed to be there using the product in order for the product to be making any action. Right now, it does alone, so it doesn't need to be there. We don't need to be there all the time. It creates for us, and then we go there and continue the process. So it's a work together, let's say it like this. So I would like to start with a few metrics, or I always like to do this in the talk. So 95%, this is a study from Fortune. It started with MIT, and it says that 90% of AI pilots fail because tools alone don't change behavior. So in order to create some sense of belonging within the user perspective using an application, we need to create something that connects to their day-to-day lives, something that brings them value and doesn't take something out of their day-to-day. So another idea is this, that we are seeing right now, the rapid adoption of tools. Now we see that most people don't want to leave ChatGPT because ChatGPT kind of says that, or created this atmosphere within us that it's the new chatbot, so ChatGPT is the go in most cases, and we kind of use but don't use other tools like Bard, Gemini, whatever it is, Copilot, and so on. So, highlight, this is a quick highlight on when intelligence becomes part of the product, within the product, the UX itself changes. Now it's becoming more AX, which is adaptive experience. And how can we create this adaptive experience within the products while not just creating screens, but creating the logic behind? I will show you the core four logics or the core four signals that you can use within the product. There's much more, but these are like the core ones that you need to start using when you're building this type of products, and how you can go from beginning until the end. So old UX was predictable flows. You start, you do the user, then the interface, then you have the output, which is the user using the platform. Right now, we have kind of an adaptive loop, which is the adaptive experience, but more in the adaptive loop, which the AI can already start by personalizing your experience right in the onboarding, because it creates the experience with the user, and the user experiments within. And while this is happening, the AI, the motor, is already understanding more since the onboarding, but also with the experience, and then the data, which is the baseline for what it will actually create with the AI. So this is a loop, but is a loop that integrates with each step. So everything goes into the motor, which is this artificial intelligence, this product. So Notion AI does something very simple, and it helps me a lot. Now they have the meeting AI, which is also pretty nice. There's just one thing: it doesn't ask the people that if they are recording or not, so it records without consent, which is not very legal. So be careful with that, but it works very well if you ask to record. But for this example, it's more related to summarize. So for example, I'm taking a course right now, and something that helps me very much is while the person that is speaking is talking, I have a lot of ideas. I'm a person that always tries to have a lot of ideas, so I write my ideas. And then I ask, can you please make sense of what I'm writing? Can you connect to something better or to other topics that I have? And it does that very well. And then the Spotify DJ is something new that is becoming more. I'm not sure if we have already in Portugal. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think we have this Spotify DJ. But it creates like a playlist, and then the mic access. And it's very cool. If you want to research more about it, it's very nice. It's a very good experience. And it presses and all like, so it presses and holds the DJ button to talk. So you talk with the AI and ask, hey, can you play this music? Hey, I was thinking about this. Can you give me something that relates to that? And it gives it to you and plays like a DJ in a party. So it's very cool. And then I like to give an analogy within the AI atmosphere, and I think it makes a lot of sense, which is bees. Each bee has a different role, a different task. In a colmate, I don't know. How do you say it in English? Yeah, thank you. It has a different, it's like a living system. And it's the same with artificial intelligence. It's a living, beehive, thank you. Oh, it was there. So, what nature, yeah, basically I like bees because bees reflect the old intelligence, because they were already doing before AI was doing with us. And you have these three big atmospheres, the distributed intelligence, which is how we are distributing this artificial intelligence, with the local signals, which I will show after, that help trigger this intelligence to distribute the right content to the right users. And then we have the global harmony because, like I was saying previously, it creates an experience in the day-to-day life of the user, contrary to other frictions that we had in the past that reflected churn within the tools because we didn't have that personalized, that customized experience that made them choose our tool instead of other tools, for example. And then this is basically like the simplest way to explain how to design like a hive. So you have the rules. Each bee has their own rules. Each has their own section. For example, some of them are with the queen. Some of them are getting something from the flowers. You know, it depends on the task. And then the flow. They don't go within each other. They know what they have to do. And they don't plan long term. If something happens, for example, a bee dies, they are not waiting for that bee to continue doing the same role. It already knows where to go, which I think where the AI will go in the future as well. And then the signals, which helps them know what is happening in their atmosphere. And then because when we are designing with AI, we are not designing the control panels, like I was saying. We're not designing the screens. We are designing the conditions that it was said in the previous talks as well. We are designing the constraints. We are designing what each section of the AI does, which is agent does, for the intelligence to actually emerge and not to be just something that we are building for the sake of building. So what can we learn from this beehive and from this role? We can designing from the data up. So the signals that I was talking, this is like the 4 core signals, like the behavioral, context, preferences, and external. You have cognitive, you have collaboration, you have a bunch of them. But these are the 4 ones that mostly we should start with. So let's start with behavior signals. I have an example here. It's very small. I'm sorry. I will try to read it for you to know. But basically, the goal with creating behavioral signals is to start with what we have to what we want. So what we have is clicks, pause, returns, retries. In this specific example, we have the drop-offs of the user. We have the retries, the time on step, the rage clicks, the abandonment goals. This is what we have. This is the data that we have. And what we want is the AI, the intelligence, to interpret these signals that we have. And they will interpret to detection friction pattern. So where is the problem within this, what we have, this data that we have? And then another point is to detect overwhelm, at risk goal. So where here can we interpret and have a solution for the problems that we are having right now? And then it creates the quadrils, which is the policy, the constraints that I was saying. It creates, don't remove required fields. This is something that constrains the intelligence never to take this away because it's important to the user and it's important for what is happening in the process right now, on the flow. And then it keeps brand structure consistent, which is something that it's still working in products. But like Miro is working right now on the branding, from the branding to create the websites, it's important for the user, for the branding to continue when you're building a website, right? So this is something that should not leave the policy section. And then from there, it goes to where we want to go, where we want the user to stay, which is to suggest smaller sprints, auto-split tasks into subtext, and gentle helper prompt. I'm going to show you. It's a very quick prototype that I did. It was like all of the 3 of them took me like 30 minutes, so please no judgment. But it's a very simple way that you can see the behavioral. So you have abandoned twice this task, but you reflected that this task is very important. So you need to have the flow AI suggestion within the process. So what we want, yeah. So the weekly goals seem too big. Try breaking them into smaller points. If you remember, I said what I wanted is to divide into smaller tasks to have less friction. So that's what I did. And it splits with the intelligence into smaller tasks. And it can even in the future be something that you generate automatically because the intelligence already know that you in order for you to complete a major task that you need to complete, you need to divide it into subtasks. So this is behavioral. This is creating something within the user. Then for the weekly progress and team status, all of this, it's connected as a baseline to create the intelligence within. This is not automatic yet, but every time you're clicking here, it is collecting data, which is becoming more and more and more something that it builds out for you, and you as a human can feel and can finish the tasks quicker and better without overwhelmed, which is something that happens a lot with us. And then the second signal is contextual. So contextual is more related to time. For example, here I give an example of 22. So every time at 10 p.m. I want to be offline. I don't want to receive any messages. I don't want to receive anything. I just want for my family to call me, for example. And it's automatic. You can do that on Apple right now, for example, but it's more related to triggers and not related to AI, but it can be. And then the device that I want this to happen is mobile. So you're exploring the different devices. So I can say, I want time 22 local, so my time, and the device can be mobile, can be computer, whatever it is you prefer. For this case, I did mobile. And I want the calendar to be equal to after hours. So what we have is these 2 points or these 3 points that will affect the interpretation of it, which is low attention context, because I need to feel less overwhelmed from 10 p.m. I need to live my life from 10 p.m. Hopefully earlier, but you know, sometimes it happens. And then I also want to prioritize wrap-up over expansion. So these are the interpretations that I want my intelligence to have in order to create the policies, the constraints that I want, which is never hide critical alerts. Even though at 10 p.m. I don't want to receive any news, if something critical is happening, for example, I'm a developer and I am in the 24-hour scenario and I have to receive all the alerts, but I still want to log off at 10 p.m., at least from the things that are not as important, I need to have this as a policy, as a constraint in order for the intelligence to work, that it makes sense to me and personalize my experience. And then respect accessibility preferences because, for example, I can only see, let's say, white. I only see white and black, just white and black. And it has to have these preferences. I don't know, it's just an example of what it could be. And then what we want from all of these is enable focus mode. This is pretty explanatory. Summarize top 3 tasks for the next day. And then the tone, which is important, which is softer tone, visuals, like for example, evening summary can be a pop-up. Then I did a quick one, which is, sorry, it's here, but it's to complete high priority tasks first and then wind down with planning for reminding. And then here you have the actual intelligence, which is already automatic. So like the other one, you had to click a button. Here is already intelligence enough to give context within what you're doing. And you gave the explanation to it of how you want to do it. So notifications are off. Evening summary, 3 tasks remaining for the next day. So I don't have to worry, because I don't know if you have this, but every Sunday I like to do a list of all of the tasks that I have to do that week. And it can be very overwhelming sometimes to define what goes on Monday, what goes on Tuesday, and so on. This is something for me as well. And then you activate focus mode from 10 p.m., like I was saying. And then the third one is preferences signals, which is something to do with the patterns of micro decisions. And then you have signals we have, which is the expands insights frequently. Then we have the chooses detailed tone and record dashboard. So these are the what we have right now. And what we have, we go for the interpretation, which can be detail-oriented user. Why? Because it expands insights frequency. It's something that is very detailed to what the user is doing. The same with the persist layout preferences. It goes from the choose detailed tone. It's something that is important for users, something that I have, because it is always looking for these details that are important for it. And then the reorders dashboard, because I have multiple different dashboards. I have multiple different goals, wherever it is. I need this to be there because sometimes on Monday, it's better this task. On Tuesday, it's better this task, for example. And then the policy says, don't alter core hierarchy, but have the rest following your day-to-day lives. And then the rest is like confirm major layout shifts. So that's something that is important for them. Why? Because of the details. So every time the core is there, the hierarchy, because it's important, but the ones that shift, I will tell the user that it shifted and why it shifted, because they like to know the details. So that's where we have and what is important for it. And then it goes to what we wanted, the default expand view, and then the tag your preferences layout, for example. Something simple, it switches, and then detail mode active, your preferred view. This is your preferred view for Monday. It's here, you don't want these tasks to be here, or you already did this task, perfect. Then you have this to finalize, 2 of 3 done, and then quick thing. Like this week's achievements, like I said, they want to know the details. They want to feel motivated. They want to know what happened. So they have the 5-day strike, peak performance, which goes with gamification, which is also something very important to build products right now, because it gives more attention, the user has more attention because of it. So yeah, let's go to the last signal, which is the external signals. Something that the AI is resilient and not reactive. Something very important is that it's a long-term adaptability. It's not something that happens right away. It's something that it builds out from it, and it's external, very external. So what we have weather, which is something, this was very nice. I think this for me is very nice. For example, today it was raining a lot. Imagine if we were having this workshop, these conversations outside, and you'd be like, I don't want to go. I don't want to have it outside. What this would do is it would switch it and send you a, hey, we already switched it for inside. We have this space that you can use, and it's already booked. So you don't have to worry about it, and you can come because it's not going to rain on you. So perfect. So then the pattern feed, which is the outage, and then the market dip, which is less than 10%, which is what we have. It's the data that we have. From there, we have the interpretation, which is the enter risk-aware mode, where you need to know, the intelligence needs to know the risks of everything that is happening with the API of the weather, for example, because it's something important for you because you do events. And then you have the reschedule impact items. So every time there's a rescheduled, which we'll see after, you will see it right away. So you don't have to think about it because it's already there. And then from there, you have the policy, the constraints, which is explain why that happened, like I was saying, and one-click opt-out. So yeah, check, that's good, let's continue. Basically like this. And then we have the banner, we have the auto-adjust plan schedule, and we have the send concise summary update from what we want, which translates to something like this, which like tomorrow's schedule, this is already rescheduled because tomorrow is going to rain. But then you have these two, which is the team sync and design review, which is good. Then we have another here that you cannot really see, which means like walking one-on-one with Sarah. So you don't want to walk with Sarah in this rain. So it's rescheduled or to another day, depending on the Sarah's schedule, for example, if you have access to Sarah's schedule. And then you have this one, which is client meeting at the park, which you still want to see the client, right? It's important for your business to see the client. It already gives the solution to you and to your client. So it automatically risks averts your situation with your client. It actually gives you something positive. So basically, this is what you can do with the signals. And then signals are the new design material that we have, are the triggers, are the explanation, are the flows that we have. When we design from signals, we design products that sense, that have a learning and adaptability, just like a hive. Just like if someone, if a bee dies, if someone leaves a certain queue within your product, you already know, or the intelligence already know what to do, like the API weather, like I was explaining. So honeybees adapt to their environment. This is a very good type of bee that adapts very well to their environment, and so should AI. AI should learn, adapt, and personalize and customize. There's no excuse right now not to personalize our own experiences. So if the hive thrives on good nectar, what happens when we feed it the wrong kind? I don't know if you know this example. This is very fun. It's not funny because it's very bad, but it's funny with what happened after. So bad actor, bad hive, failed AI customer support. I don't know if you saw this for Klarna. So what happens when we optimize speed and not for humans? So they had around 7.5K employees, and because of AI, they decided that it was fun to fire a lot, and only 3K stay. From 7.5 stay 3K. What happened in the end? So the CEO had to come forward and say, hey, please accept back, please come back, we need customer representatives. This was not what we wanted, because all of their clients, what happened? All of their clients decided that basically they did not trust them anymore. Why should I have an AI? It was not the time to have this AI situation happening within their own product. So when we are deciding what to use or where to use AI, we need to understand who will actually use our tools. That's very important. The signals are very important. So this is another example. This was in 2018. Google had a very bad reaction to the Google Assistant because we're making calls pretending to be human. We didn't know it were human. They were calling like they were human. They were replying like they were human. Can you imagine in 2018 having an AI reply to you and doing mistakes? It's not the same time as today. Maybe today it would work. Even today you cannot do it. You have to say that it's AI talking. But today would work best. So they failed on the timing, which is also very important. It's not only the signals that you have within your platform, it's also the signals that you're giving to your users outside of your product. So you need to work with CX and with UX. You don't only have to work with one or the other, because both reflect the customer and their signals. And then you have the Air Canada, which was very bad for them. This was very bad for them. So they had an AI accident that were replying to, on a chatbot, they were replying to them saying, hey, your flight was canceled. So they didn't go, they lost the money. So they had to pay a lot. This happened 2024, yeah, 2024. It was very bad. They lost a lot of money, and a lot of people lost the trust on Air Canada. I don't know if this news came to Portugal, but yeah, no, okay. Yeah, so now you know what Air Canada did and not to do here. So AI can optimize anything except relationships. That's where we are right now. That's something that I like to say, and I'm going to do a talk next week related to this, from confidence to curiosity within the AI landscape, is that we have a big problem as humans when it comes to taking something out of ourselves. Like, for example, hard skills right now, it's something that has been moving within us. And we feel like we gain these hard skills and it should not be taken from us because we had this experience, we worked very hard to get it. But we forget that we are not one-side people. We are complex. We have multiple ways, not only of learning, but of being. There's a lot of soft skills that AI won't have and doesn't have. Yes, Elon Musk is thinking of doing a robot that has our cells and can think, etc. He's working on that, but let him work on that like Tesla. So I don't know. I'm not a fan of Tesla. I'm sorry if you are. But basically, not sorry if you are. You can like whatever you want. But basically what I'm getting at is you have a lot of skills and you can learn a lot of skills that complement this artificial intelligence, and you should use it as an advantage and not contrary. So don't feel offended if someone does better than you, like we do on the day-to-day lives. What do? You do better. It being the same thing or being something similar or something different that complements what that person is doing. It's called evolution. It's not called stealing. So that's how I see it. So the hive thrives when data and empathy work together, when human X intelligence. I don't know if you saw in the beginning that where this logo means human X intelligence, which is my brand, that reflects the human is always at the center of everything, times the intelligent, not intelligence, intelligent. Intelligent meaning that we have our own intelligence, being emotional intelligent, being our own intelligence in terms of our soft and our hard skills. But there's also the artificial intelligence, which adapts to the times, which is human. So it should be more human, but also we should use it as a tool. So thank you very much. Like I promised, it was quick.